Hey, good morning, students. It's Pastor Dan here, just giving you a quick update of all things going on around CCCH students. We've had an amazing week. We've had so much stuff going on around here. It's been so fun. If you were not around last Wednesday, we had our game show night. So did you miss that? Hopefully you didn't, because we had so much fun together. We had a huge game show going on in the auditorium. Played some crazy games, gave away gift cards, cash, and even gave away a 32-inch flat screen TV to one of our lucky winners. Also, this last Sunday, we had a great time together hanging out in both Sunday morning and Sunday night with our middle schoolers and our high schoolers. Make sure you don't miss out on this coming week. This coming week is Pie Day. It's our hilarious holiday for March 3/14. We're going to have some pie. We're going to have some pie games. We're going to have some pie prizes. I'm even going to teach a pie-themed lesson, so you do not want to miss out on that. So if you've not signed up yet already, we have our signups that just went out in our email right now. Make sure you sign up. Spaces are still kind of limited on Sunday morning and Sunday night, so make sure you reserve your spot for yourself, maybe even a friend, so you can come hang out with us and all that's going on. Also, if you didn't hear, we have some great things coming up this summer already. We're planning for summer. We have Mix and we have Move. We have a middle school camp going on called Mix in the beginning of June. We're heading out to a great camp in southern Indiana, but signups are going quickly already. We have a limited spots because of COVID, so make sure you go to our website, make sure you sign up for our great time together. There's also a COVID protocol and safety kind of statement that is also on our website for your parents to check out, to read through kind of how we're dealing with that, and also how CIY, the organization that's running these camps, are dealing with the different pieces of the week together. For our high schoolers, our current 9th to 12th graders, we're heading off to a conference in early July called Move. It is going to be a great time. It's actually at Hope College in Holland, Michigan. We're going to spend some time together at the conference. We're also spending some time downtown, hanging out at the beach together just as our group. Just a fun time. If you've never been to one of these events, it is going to be great, and we're looking forward to that. But once again, space is limited for that sign up, so make sure you go to the church website, go to our high school page, and sign up right away. So make sure you have a spot for this amazing event. And once again, there is a statement for your parents to look at to see kind of how the CIY organization is dealing with COVID, how they're doing safety protocols on the college campus and throughout our week with them. So make sure you check out all things CCCH students on our website, on our Facebook page, on our Instagram. If you've not signed up for our text messaging, make sure you sign up for text alerts. We'll send out a text once a week to let you know about all the great things happening and remind you to sign up for what is coming up. Hey, we have a great week going on, and we have a great week coming up. But this last weekend, we had a great time together as we wrapped up our God Is series. We just want to make sure that you are always aware of what we're teaching, and also so your parents are aware of what we're teaching. This last weekend, we talked about the fact that God is real. What does it look like? What does it look like for us to understand why and how we know that God exists? What we did on Sunday morning and Sunday night is we walked through some philosophical ideas and some fun and creative ways to think about this idea of how and why we know God exists. What I want to do is I want to share with you just one of our videos that we shared from this last Sunday, and then we will talk for a short moment.
Know that God exists. Well, buckle your seatbelts, because I'm going to give you 5 quick arguments for the existence of God. Number 1 is the universe had a beginning. We know this now from science, we know this from philosophy, that the universe began to exist. It's not eternal. Therefore, there must be a cause outside of the universe that's personal and powerful and intelligent, spaceless and timeless. That sounds a lot like God. The beginning of the universe points towards a beginner. Second, what we call the fine-tuning of the universe. There are certain universal laws of physics and cosmology that exist on a razor's edge. And they all have one strange thing in common. If these laws of, say, like gravity were the slightest bit different, our universe could not exist. Yet they're all set right where they need to be to allow the existence and sustenance of complex life. The fine-tuning of the universe points towards a fine-tuner. Third, DNA. Do you know how much information is inside the DNA in your body? I saw one study that said the amount of information in one cell in your body is equivalent of about 500,000 movies. That's 500,000 movies. Can you imagine? Now the question is, where does that information come from? Can't be explained by evolution, can't be explained by chemicals or time. Whenever we see information, a sign that says stop, we say a person put it there. So just as the information in a book points towards an author, the information in DNA points towards a mind or an author of life. Fourth, the moral argument basically has two premises. Number one, if there's objective moral values, God must exist. There are objective moral values, therefore God exists. Now, how can we say there's objective moral values? Well, number one, it's kind of obvious. We all know that torturing an innocent child for fun is wrong. We all know that, it's obvious. Second, in The Abolition of Man, C.S. Lewis said across cultures universally, there's common principles that everybody knows and lives as if they're true. Principles of honesty, principles of courage, principles of caring for posterity. Now the practice varies, but the principles are universal. So if there is an objective moral standard, and it seems to point towards God, I mean, after all, this points to a standard outside of human beings, to a universal law that we're supposed to follow, there must be a God. So if there's a moral law, it points towards a moral law giver. And last, I think one reason to believe there's a God is because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Jesus claimed to be God in human flesh. He died on the cross. The tomb is empty. We have radical accounts of Jesus appearing to people. And then our first witnesses who were willing to die for this conviction. So here it is. The beginning of the universe points towards a beginner. The fine-tuning of the universe is best explained by a fine-tuner. The DNA, the information, points towards an author of life. A moral law points towards a moral law giver. And the resurrection of Jesus Christ tells us that that God entered into human history. We have good reason to believe that God exists.
As Sean shared, we have an understanding of who God is by understanding our world around us, understanding who we are. God has created our world. We have a designer, we have a creator, we have someone who has given us a world of purpose, but also has given us purpose. The way that we can prove that God exists and the way we can think about God's existence is through our world. As a creator, as a designer, as the cause and effect of our world, we can say to ourselves, we know there's a God. We also can look at our own lives and who we are, how God has designed us with purpose, but also how He's implanted in us a conscience, a mind, a thought, and belief system, even right down to the idea that every single person in our world, no matter if they believe in God or don't, it is implanted in them a conscience. There is a divine moral lawgiver in our world. And we know that because God is that moral lawgiver. And every single person we run into has a moral law implanted in their mind and in their heart. And what that leads us to is an understanding of who God is, but also who His Son, Jesus Christ, is in our lives. Both on Sunday morning and Sunday night, we spent some time processing this in small groups, talking through this idea and wrapping up this idea of who God is. We've talked about God being love, God being present in our world, and God being personal. We talked about God being divine, and Tim did a great job of walking us through this idea of who God is, an all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-present God. This last weekend, we just wanted to wrap it up together and give you all a challenging thought, to think for yourselves about whether or not God is real. But then simply ask yourself, if God is real, what does that mean? As we spent time talking, we talked about this idea of if God is real, what does that mean to me? What does that mean to my life? What does that mean to my world? If we understand and view our world through the eyes of God being real, it changes everything. It changes how we look at school. It changes how we look at friendships. It changes how we look even at relationships and dating and marriage. It changes absolutely everything. Why we spent time filling the blanks of this idea of God is because we want to give you a foundation to spend your life thinking about looking at our world differently. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning just to kind of check in on what's going on around us. If you want a copy of the notes from this last couple weeks, especially this last week, let me know. I'd be more than happy to provide you some of the slides. Moms and dads who are tuning in, we'd be more than happy to provide those slides for you along with our discussion questions from this last week. We want you to have these discussions and these opportunities to process at home. We're excited for this coming week. We're also excited for a brand new series starting in a few weeks about the original Superman, Jesus Christ. We'll see you all next Sunday. Talk to you later.